I want to talk about Donald Trump's son-in-law and his media company, The Observer. Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who is part owner of The Observer. There was an article written by an opinion columnist at The Observer who called for an FBI investigation into the, quote, political thuggery of anti-Trump protests taking place in the wake of the presidential election. So the article was from last week, right? But I didn't cover it, so I'm going to cover it now. Most importantly, because this is connected directly to a person who has been requested to receive top secret security clearances. So you have essentially a media organization that is a direct, besides Breitbart, you have now The Observer that is directly connected to the White House, to Donald Trump's White House. So the op-ed calls for Director Comey to investigate the, quote, violence and political thuggery that continue to mar the presidential elections, the aftermath. This includes a crackdown on protests and a thorough investigation into whether protest efforts have, quote, ties to organizations demanding vote recounts. Okay. In the op-ed, it says, quote, the hard left's violent reaction to Donald Trump's election is vile and dangerous. Peaceful protests, no, the demonstrators vandalize and destroy. Okay, I gotta stop there. Because I don't think anybody out there protesting for a recount is a part of the hard left. Whatever the hell, however the hell you define the hard left. Like if you want to make it seem like we're the boogeymen, we're the Marxist, communist, socialists, then I guarantee you not a single Marxist, communist, or socialist is out there demanding a recount. That's just going to be my bet. I would put money on it. Not much of a betting man unless it's Texas Hold'em, but I would put money on it that there's not a single hard left person out there, but I digress. I don't want to crucify them on that piece of prose. It also says, quote, the mainstream media outlets have coddled and excused the demonstrators the same way they coddle and excuse violence by Black Lives Matter. What the hell is wrong with these people, man? These people are so... yes, I'm going to use, they are so, actually, no, deplorable is not a sufficient enough word. Deranged. They are deranged and deplorable. They are deranged with the political desire to control every facet of our lives with their narrative. Not just to control us, but with their narrative. With the narrative that there's nothing wrong in America except for the people complaining about America. The narrative that everything wrong with America comes from the left of America. The narrative that there's no such thing as white supremacy. Black people are just complaining. You see how they seamlessly intertwine all of their big boogeyman villain into one little piece of shit article? But there's more. They say, quote, Jill Stein. Actually, I'm not even going to read this quote. Never mind. Forget it. Anyway, it talks about Jill Stein and the recount. It's not as important as everything else has already been said. You could go read it yourself at theobserver.com. So here's the deal. Here's a take. Here's my hot take. The hot take is this. They only want freedom of speech if it's their speech. They only want the right to protest if it's protesting for something they believe in and not something that they oppose, right? This is clear, right? We've already made that distinction many times on this show that they feel that America belongs to them and that the Constitution is only valid for them, right? That's why they value the Second Amendment so much, but let a black person or a black organization like the Black Panther Party, the original Black Panther Party, take up arms. They're willing to undermine that Second Amendment because America is not for black militants. It's not for leftists. It's not for people who believe in anything but laissez-faire capitalism, which most of the people on the right can't even fucking spell. But the point is still the same. Anyone who doesn't fall into their capitalistic Judeo-Christian value set is the enemy. They are not entitled to the same rights and privileges, because if they were, you wouldn't write a piece of crap article like this saying that the FBI should investigate the protesters and leveling everything, reducing everything that happened. Like, personally, I don't really care about I already said that. The people who's still protesting, let's start there. Is there anybody still protesting as of last week? Because if you are, please go home. If you're protesting for a recount, like if you're protesting in general for, speaking out against Donald Trump, fine. But if you're protesting for a recount, please go home. It's over. Donald Trump is the president. But even though I'm like, y'all need to go home and sit down somewhere, they have every bit of right to be out there just as much as anyone else. But this type of writing is particularly nefarious, not only because of the positions that they espouse, but because of the connection that they have to the incoming president. And the propensity and not the propensity, but I guess propensity will work. The propensity that Donald Trump has to suppress the media, to use his bully pulpit to try to silence the media. So this type of writing is they're free to write it, but it carries a little more, I don't want to say significance, but a little more concern. There's a little more concern with this article, with articles like this coming from a company that's owned by Donald Trump's son-in-law, especially because that son-in-law is going to be seated right in the White House with Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is too lazy to read his own security briefings. So he's gotten his son-in-law, he's requested his son-in-law get a top secret clearance so that he could read the briefings for him. America, 2016.